Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
It's the WHOW Morning Show. I'm your host today, Ben Hubbard. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. My guest in studio in this segment is Curt Homann, Executive Director of the DCDC. Curt, good to catch up with you, as always. How are we doing today, sir?
I'm doing wonderful. Good to see you.
Good.
Good morning.
Yeah, good to see you as well, and enjoying some nice weather. As I was driving in at the crack of dawn this morning, it really was the crack of dawn, and I got a little sunlight, which I appreciated. So it's a good day today, Curt. Good Monday.
It is.
Let's jump right into what's going on with the DCDC. Obviously, what all of our local business owners are waiting to hear about is the latest grant cycle and how our small businesses locally can get in on that. Let's dive into
absolutely. So our latest grant cycle is open.
Mm-hmm.
Application deadline is May 4th,
Mm-hmm.
and we will have between $15,000 and $17,500 to distribute to local businesses within the county,
Mm-hmm.
within DeWitt County. So
so
go on our website is the best place to find those applications,
Mm-hmm.
which is dcdc-illinois.net.
Gotcha.
And go to microgrant, and you'll find the application information. So,
Awesome.
But May 4th is the deadline on that, and we're excited. I don't know how many years we've done this now, but several.
Mm-hmm.
And this is probably one of the more fun things that we get to do.
Yeah.
And businesses love it because it's free money.
Yeah, right. I feel like a question that I don't always ask when we talk about these grants is, what's kind of the reaction that you get from these small business owners when you get to tell them, hey, we're awarding X amount of money to you?
They're never disappointed. I
Right.
can tell you that. However, one of the things, from the other side of it, the exciting thing for me to be able to see is people's projects and ideas,
Mm-hmm.
and to be able to make some of those projects happen is super exciting.
Yeah.
So, I'm sure they're excited to receive the money, but I will tell you, I'm just as excited
Mm-hmm.
to hear the ideas and be able to make some of those ideas happen through DCDC.
Yeah, let's remind of some of these ideas and projects in the past that have been funded through this micro grants program to give people an idea of what it's used for.
Yeah, so a lot of times it's business equipment, sometimes it's marketing, sometimes it's a whole host of different ideas. Sometimes it's building needs, so flooring, electrical, they've been done.
Mm-hmm.
A generator, we did a generator that needed to keep the building temperature controlled.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of equipment. So oftentimes a business will say, I'd really like to add this product line, but the upfront cost is more substantial than I can handle right now. So they apply for that grant.
Mm-hmm.
And what's great about those in particular, of course, is that it introduces a new product, maybe to the community or even the county,
Mm-hmm.
and it allows that business owner to generate more revenues. And so all in all, it's a win-win for everybody in that case. So those are generally the ideas we're looking at. And I always tell people, keep the amount that we have to give in mind.
Mm-hmm.
So if your project size is $1 million, we're very much behind that, I promise you. But a few $1,000s on our end won't help. And typically the judges don't like those humongous projects that we can only contribute a small part to. So, try to have those projects anywhere, up to $5,000, $6,000, $10,000 is generally a good range to look at. So,
would you call this a particularly competitive grant series? Like, how many applications do you guys typically get in a cycle?
Typically we'll get around, it varies a lot. Probably the low number is 8 and the high number is 16 to 17.
Gotcha.
And then we narrow those down to 5 or 6. We bring those 5 or 6 in. They do a pitch that, all the same evening or the same afternoon. And the judges hear them all. And then they select who gets what breakdown of funds.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a fun event for sure. And I know that can be a little nerve-wracking for businesses, but we keep it very low key.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a handful of judges. It's closed, so the business can talk very comfortably.
Yeah.
And it works out really well.
Yeah, definitely. So we said that the deadline for the applications is May 4th. Do you guys know when you'll host that event for people to talk about it?
Yeah, I don't have the exact date in front of me, but it'll be within a couple weeks after that May 4th deadline.
And then how soon after that are those decisions announced?
So we notify so we usually, depending on where it falls with the board meeting, we'll make the official approval at a board meeting, or I will send an email to all the board members and get their official approval. And so it's within a week or two.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Great. Well, Curt, anything else on the current grant cycle before we move on?
No, but don't start it early.
Yes.
So don't wait till the day before it's due, because there's definitely some items that will take a little bit of time to put together.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. Well, keep that on the radar. And again, that's dcdc.net to find that.
DCDC-Illinois.
Thank you.
.net.
I'm sorry.
Yep.
So, and I'm sorry, I'm going to work around a little with our list of topics here and jump to some upcoming events that are going to be happening in DeWitt County and the Clinton and Farmer City area. The first one is yearly University of Illinois rowing competition that'll be happening at the lake.
So they have the big regatta, I think they call it the Illinois Rowing Invitational now. That is April 18th. So a couple weeks from now, less than a couple weeks from now. They typically have 16 to 20 different universities here from all over the country, both men's and women's competition. Colorado, University of Colorado, there's Pennsylvania, there's a lot of rowing, a lot of really good rowing teams. And that'll bring some guests into our community, and we always love to hear that. So they have been doing that for 10 to 15 years now out at Clinton Lake, and it's exciting for everyone. So if you see some extra people in town, say hello and put on your best front, I guess. The other exciting thing about Illinois Rowing is they're building a building out at the lake area.
Oh, really? Gotcha.
So they've progressed enough to where they need some additional storage and facilities, and that's a great plus for DeWitt County as well.
Definitely. I apologize if this is maybe a silly question, but why does the University of Illinois come out to Clinton Lake to have this competition instead of maybe somewhere closer to Champaign?
Really, there isn't anything that works. So Clinton Lake is actually it's one of the better. So the tree line shields wind. Illinois is typically a pretty windy area, but the tree line out the lake shields winds. They actually really, really, really like this course, and I think they were in Homer for a few years, and it was on some private ground, and I think the owner sold that ground, and the new owners didn't want them there. So really, this was a better alternative than what they had anyway. But it's how they got here, and geographically, it's the reason they're here. I mean, the facility makes sense for them.
Definitely.
And it's fun. They're out there practicing, even at this point. And it's great to see those young collegiate athletes in our communities already. So
absolutely. Tell me a little bit about the economic development that brings. You had mentioned that's going to bring some guests, but you said 20 universities from all across the country. That's more than just a few guests, right?
It is. Yeah, they don't oftentimes they don't bring huge fan bases with them, so it's not like a NCAA basketball or football game,
of course,
but a lot of family, and obviously all the athletes that come along with those. So there's definitely economic impact, and it's just a great thing to say that the University of Illinois has an event going on here. And but definitely impact. DCDC was involved at one of several organizations. We needed of course, rowing, the conservation district, Exelon at that time, had to okay them to be out there. So we're involved in a lot of meetings to get that put together. And and I was on that specifically, and it was a great win for DeWitt County for sure.
Awesome. Well, first we talk about a race on the water. Next up is a race on the dirt track out in Farmer City as we get the racing season underway.
Yeah, so that race is scheduled for this weekend. So they'll have practice Thursday nights, which a lot of fans come out too.
Mhm.
And then the actual race event is Friday and Saturday,
Mhm.
and that's the Illini 100.
Mhm.
And that is the first race of the year, and actually it's a very big race. So
Yeah.
Farmer City, weather permitting, we're hopeful that it's able to happen. But that event typically brings 6,000 to 8,000 people over the 3-day time period into Farmer City, and certainly the gas stations, convenience stores, restaurants really benefit from that.
Yeah.
And so we're hopeful that event happens. It's interesting. There's a lot of, and I'm not a huge race fan,
Sure.
in terms of vehicles,
Mhm.
but there's a lot of people that go through there that go on to become really
yeah.
big names,
Yeah.
in the NASCAR world and sprint cup world and all those things. So it's really a pretty entertaining event, and it's amazing to me the names that come through that track.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
So great event.
Yeah, I'm sure Seth would be able to just list off everybody who's
He
come through
probably
Farmer
could,
City and
yeah.
all that. But tell me a little bit about planning for this event. Obviously with your involvement with the raceway out in Farmer City, what's it like to have to be ready to have 6,000 to 8,000 people at that racetrack?
Well, fortunately, I'm not the one. My planning level is about 400,000 feet in the air, but there are people that have been involved in working the track and
Mhm.
and food prep and all of those things that have been preparing for months, of course, for this kickoff event. So I just kind of watch from a distance and let the people that really know what they're doing
Mhm.
do their thing.
Yeah.
But there is a lot of planning involved, and it's the local police departments, the county
Yeah.
police, and those things are all aware of what's going on.
Mhm.
And sometimes it's traffic control, at peak times to get into the raceway. The lines can get out onto a US highway, and
Yeah.
that becomes challenging.
Mhm.
And then seating and crowd control, but it's always been a really safe and fun event. And it's very dependent on weather, of course.
Yeah,
So
sure.
again, we're hopeful. We see some rain in the forecast, but we're hopeful that that event happens. And who knows?
Mhm.
I feel there's a good chance that it will. But yes, and if not, it gets rescheduled.
Perfect.
That's the other good thing.
Yeah.
So, but it is a huge draw
Mhm.
for the community and area. In fact, so several hotels in the area get filled
Yeah.
for that weekend because of that event.
So obviously there will be the race, which is the main attraction, but are there any other things planned with that? Do they do fireworks or any other things that people can see if they want to go?
Not with this particular race. Yeah,
Okay,
they do.
gotcha.
They do around the 4th of July. There's
Sure.
always fireworks involved with that, community fireworks, and they kind of coordinate that with one of the race nights. So
Well, not like there's not enough to do there anyway.
for sure. Yeah, there's plenty to do. There's
Yeah.
no doubt about it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Curt, I look at the clock. Let's take a break. More to come with Curt Homann, the Executive Director of the DeWitt County Development Council on the WHOW Morning Show.
WHOW.
Hey there, loyal listeners. This is your team at Regional Radio with a quick heads up. Some of the great programming you enjoy throughout the day is pre-recorded, but don't worry, we're still bringing you the same local content you love. Our legal team insisted we mention this, and hey, keeping the attorneys happy keeps us on the air. So thanks for tuning in and being part of the Regional Radio family. We're proud to bring local, compelling content to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
MR Systems Wireless is your local internet provider for Clinton and surrounding area. They have the products you want and the local service you deserve. MR Systems Wireless Internet service for home or business includes unlimited data, unlimited streaming, and unlimited calling. Plans start at just $48 a month and get a free Roku 4 lease with our media packages. Get the speed you need with MR Systems Wireless. Call them at 935-2100. That's 935-2100 for MR Systems Wireless.
Hey everyone, Paul Scarron here, CEO of Warner Hospital. Spring in Central Illinois is beautiful unless allergies are slowing you down. If you're dealing with sneezing, congestion, itchy eyes, or sinus pressure, our experienced providers at Warner Hospital and Health Services in Clinton are here to help. We offer fast, personalized treatment to get you breathing easier and feeling better. Don't let allergies take over your spring. Call or visit us today. Warner Hospital and Health Services, quality care right here, right now.
Looking for a provider who puts your health first? SIU Family Medicine is accepting new patients. Call 217-735-2317 today to schedule your first appointment. That's 217-735-2317. SIU Medicine, forward for you.
DeWittDailyNews.com is the area's leading local news source 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the latest local news, obituaries, police blotter, weather forecast, and more with no paywall. Head to DeWittDailyNews.com to get the local information you need to know.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
It's the WHOW Morning Show. I'm your host today, Ben Hubbard. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. We continue with my guest in studio in this segment, Curt Homann, Executive Director of the DeWitt County Development Council. And Curt, what's been going on, with the DeWitt County Development Council recently when it comes to the county, when it comes to the city of Clinton or Farmer City or any other of our municipalities? What's kind of the big news going on?
Yeah, well, we've continued our focus on, with housing. That Scott Baum, in fact, was a big push in that for us a couple years ago, that we really need to focus on housing, and we did, so we're going to see more, obviously, housing units this year, both in certainly Farmer City and certainly Clinton.
Yeah.
And I know some other areas in the county as well. So that's always exciting. But we have we continue to work, week to week, helping find or helping attract new business as well. And that's going pretty well. So you're going to see some new business announcements coming up soon.
Yeah.
And we're obviously working on some others that will come up down the road. But just to give you an idea, a lot of times people ask, well, what's your day like, or what's your week like? And so I have a couple of Zoom meetings this week. One is from an out-of-state individual that they're actually looking to put a very small manufacturing facility in the county. It would be a new build. And then also, a separate Zoom meeting with a developer, and they want me on the call with their accountant, which always makes me a little nervous. But from that perspective, I'm certainly not giving advice. I'm listening, and it does help me know exactly what that developer needs to accomplish from that tax perspective. So if I'm in that situation, that helps me guide them a little bit better with certain projects.
Yeah.
So those are a couple of things that I have going on. But the rest of my time, day to day, it's it's a lot of phone work, a lot of computer work, a lot of footwork, talking to businesses.
Yeah.
People ask, what are your office hours? And I tell them I have none. I'm never in my office, so I will go there to meet with somebody. But my time is very effective when I'm out talking to people.
Yeah.
So that's where I focus that, for sure. But a lot of great things happening with DCDC, and really, you're going to continue to see the fruits of those this year and certainly next year. Things we know that are going to happen.
Yeah. So it feels like the big story from DCDC over the last year and change or so has been this snowball effect of just everything is starting to come to Clinton and come to DeWitt County in the area. How has your job changed, over that time? It feels like things have gotten really busy for you, I'm sure.
It has, and it's really a big progression. When I started in this role, it was literally walking the streets, introducing myself to as many local businesses as I possibly could.
Yeah.
And, assisting those local businesses. And as we've had successes, then, the word gets out, and that attracts people reaching out to me and the cities and the county. And it's really changed in that regard. So early on, 100% of my work was I was reaching out, and that number has changed substantially. It's probably 75% right now that are reaching in, and the projects have gotten much bigger. And I can't not say this, but the county board, the city of Farmers City, and the city of Clinton, without those partnerships, DCDC would not exist, certainly as it is now, and the success that we've had partnering with those would not be the same. Not to say that some of these things wouldn't happen, but I think we play an integral role communicating with each other and assisting with each other. And because of that, we're seeing those successes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's build on that a little bit more. Your job is more than just to take a phone call and tell people how awesome DeWitt County is. That's part of it. But are you working with, county zoning to help find a place for people or things like that? How are you working with those entities?
Yeah. So, I want to know what properties are available as much as possible. And so if a business comes in, I know kind of where to direct them. The first thing I do, of course, is listen to the business to see what they want and then try to find the match. But sometimes it's zoning issues, whether it's cities or county, and we just have to know what to walk through. Can an exception be made here if one needs to be made here? I work with banks a lot. I need to know what those banks can do in terms of lending for potential new businesses or existing businesses. But so there's it's multifaceted again, CPAs, zoning, lending, all of those things and many more are incredibly important to this role.
And that brings us to just about out of time, Curt. I'm sorry, but we got to wrap things up. Again, that is Curt Homann, Executive Director of the DeWitt County Development Council on the WHOW Morning Show.